Listen carefully. Before you ask how intelligent you are, you need to understand something far more dangerous. Most people have no idea what intelligence actually is. They confuse intelligence with education, with degrees, with fast speech, with memorized information. Machiavelli was never impressed by any of that. He didn't care about who spoke the loudest, who appeared clever, or who was praised for their intellect. He cared about one thing only: who understands reality as it is, who controls themselves under pressure, and who moves strategically without exposing their intentions. That is intelligence. And according to this perspective, intelligence is not a single trait. It is layered. It develops in stages, 7 levels. Most people never move past the first 2. Very few reach the top. As you listen, be honest with yourself. Not who you want to be, but where you truly stand right now. The first level is the most common. Reactive intelligence. At this level, a person is ruled by emotion. They react before they think. They speak while angry. They decide while afraid. They act while excited. Their emotions drive the wheel, and logic follows behind, trying to justify the damage. This person is predictable, easy to provoke, easy to manipulate. Machiavelli believed that anyone who cannot control their reactions can never hold real power. If your decisions change with your mood, if your words escape you under pressure, if your actions are driven by impulse, then this is where you are, no matter how smart you think you are. The second level is justificatory intelligence. Here the person does not only react, they explain their reactions. They fail, then blame circumstances. They make mistakes, then blame people. They stay stuck, then blame time, society, luck, or fate. This level is more dangerous than the first, because it feels intelligent. The person sounds aware. They have reasons. They have explanations, but they lack responsibility. Machiavelli understood something brutal. A person who never takes responsibility never learns. And a person who never learns never rises. As long as you explain why it wasn't your fault, you stay exactly where you are. The third level is intellectual intelligence without discipline. This is where many educated people live. They read, they study, they understand concepts. They speak about awareness, mindset, psychology, power, but their behavior doesn't change. They know the ideas, but they don't embody them. They talk about emotional control, yet lose control. They talk about patience, yet rush. They talk about discipline, yet collapse under pressure. Machiavelli had no respect for knowledge without restraint. Information without self-control is useless in the real world. The fourth level is observational intelligence. Here, real intelligence begins to appear. This person watches more than they speak. They listen carefully. They notice patterns. They observe behavior, tone, timing, silence. They understand that what people say is often less important than what they avoid saying. They begin to read situations, not emotionally, but strategically. However, they still struggle internally. They still feel pulled by emotion, even if they hide it better. This level is a crossroads. Many stop here, because going higher requires sacrifice. The fifth level is self-control intelligence. This is where Machiavelli truly begins. At this level, a person feels emotion, but does not obey it. They feel anger, but do not explode. They feel fear, but do not retreat. They feel desire, but do not rush. They control their tongue, their timing, their expression. They understand that silence, when used intentionally, is a weapon. This person appears calm, even under pressure, because their mind is not leaking outward. Machiavelli believed that the one who controls themselves controls the situation. The sixth level is strategic intelligence. Here the person no longer thinks in moments. They think in outcomes. They see consequences before actions. They calculate risks. They move slowly, but precisely. They understand when to advance, when to withdraw, and when to do nothing at all. And doing nothing, when you are capable of acting, is one of the hardest skills to master. This person does not seek quick victories. They seek lasting advantage. They understand power is not loud. It is patient. The seventh level is the rarest of all. Complete self-awareness. At this level, a person knows themselves deeply. Their strengths, their weaknesses, their triggers. their blind spots. They do not need validation. They are not shaken by criticism. They are not intoxicated by praise. Their ego is under control, not eliminated, but mastered. They understand others because they first understand themselves. This level is rare because it demands sacrifice, silence, patience, restraint, and the willingness to let go of ego. Now ask yourself honestly, not where you want to rank, but where you truly are. And more importantly, are you willing to climb? Because moving up these levels is not about learning more. It is about shedding illusions. If this type of content sharpens your thinking, instead of comforting you, if it challenges you instead of entertaining you, then staying connected, supporting, and subscribing is not for this channel. It is for your own growth. We don't promise comfort. We promise clarity. And remember this Machiavellian truth. The most dangerous person in the room is not the loudest, not the smartest on paper, but the one who understands themselves and waits. If you understand that, you have already begun to rise.